What is up, everybody? I am on the way home after the Syracuse Sports Show. It is Sunday evening, and the show closed at 5. It is now 6:20, and myself and Tim and Rick from Krenzer's broke down the booth, moved all the boats out, covered everything safely, tucked away in an hour and 20 minutes. Less than that, because I'm almost home, so I've been on the road for 15 at least. And it was a great show, fantastic show. There was a lot of people. I got to shake a lot of hands and talk to a lot of wonderful, amazing people. And I am blessed, and my heart is full, right to the brim, with the outpouring of love that I felt from everyone throughout the show. And that started with my very close friend Norm Whiteman, the owner of the show and the promoter. Norm and I go all the way back to the Gander Mountain days. We opened Gander Mountain together, worked night and day, side by side, for weeks. When we opened that store, we took that from a bare store to a fully functional, if everybody or anybody remembers the grand opening of Gander Mountain. Norm was the firearms manager, I was the clothing and footwear manager, and we opened that store together, and nobody had ever seen anything like that. That was amazing times, and he has put that same heart and effort into the sports show. And this year, the place was full of vendors, and it was full of people. It was really fantastic. I saw some amazing vendors, met some great vendors, things that will develop into partnerships in the future. You have that feeling, you make that connection with people. No different than all of you I spoke with out there at the show. It had just wonderful conversation after another. And I couldn't have enjoyed it more. And again, I thank all of you for filling my heart and my soul and what's inside of me, which is always what I want to give to all of you. My knowledge, my ability to teach, my desire to teach. It's just what I want to do, and it makes me feel good. And in turn, it makes you feel good, and then you reciprocate that good feeling back to me in thanks, and then I give it back to you, and then you give it back to me, and that circular flow of positive, beautiful, loving energy changes relationships, brings communities together. We're 4,000 strong, guys, girls, kids of all ages, family, friends, relatives, near and far. We're 4,000 strong just on YouTube. There's another 10,000 spread out through Instagram and social media, the vast majority of which when I started 4 or 5 years ago. I had somebody this weekend come up to me. God help me to remember his name. I know your face and I know the conversation. And he come up and he said, "Man, I'm so glad to finally meet you." He goes, "I was subscriber like 103 or 133. It was a 1 and a 3 at the end. Whatever was in the middle, I don't know. I don't remember." I'm like, 103? That was 5 years ago. Courtney bought me a GoPro. She goes, "You go out there all the time anyway. Why don't you try it? Why don't we see what we can do?" Here we are. This is what we can do. This is just the beginning. And that outpouring of love, if I was a fire and you were gasoline, that's that relationship. And it doesn't have to, unlike the accelerant, that accelerant will burn off unless it's getting more, that fire will die down unless it's getting more accelerant. I had to flip that around. So you can choose whatever your fire is, and you can choose whatever the accelerant is. And it doesn't have to just be one accelerant. There can be multiple. Because as you give it out, as you radiate it out, it comes back to you from all angles as well. you radiate it out 360, you get it back 360. So you're one of many giving, but you're also one from a lot that's getting. So everybody is just supercharged. Like, yeah, we're going over here. And it's beauty, and it's peace, and it's harmony, and it's grace, and it's love, and it's togetherness, and it's the beauty of human beings, because you can be with a group of like-minded people, and while you're together with like-minded people, you're happy and joyful. And then if you were to branch out afterwards and then see that same person, and maybe there's part of them over there that maybe they're different than you in some way, and you're not sure if you like it or not, but you also then realize, well, that you were part of this community a few minutes ago that was loving and joyful and supportive and nurturing and teaching and endearing. Of teaching what means, I pass on what I know about fishing to people, not because it's the end all, but it's the beginning of. I only want to start fires. I'm not trying to be the brightest flame. That's not the point. The point is that if leading by example is a thing, then I would want to create a group, an organization, an entity that everybody is doing that. Because, so what do you think? If you have something or an expertise in something and you share that expertise, that you somehow diminish your expertise because now somebody else might have it too? Because what you do with your expertise and what they do with their expertise is two different, complete things. And so we can all benefit. My God, if you have a group, a community, a society, a world, a race of human beings that are all exceptional and masters at everything, then doesn't that sound better? Wouldn't that be better? Could it be worse if everybody was better? How could that be? If everybody was better, then you would be better collectively. But everybody has to be doing their best to all contribute at their best to all be better like that. Can't rely on some. It's got to be all. Because if all are consuming, all must contribute. Because eventually, you can't have more consumers than you do producers. The tangent there is that by shining that light out, you guys shine it back on me. And I love it. And then you supercharge me to want to go bigger and better and give back more and teach better, show more, explain, theorize, show the example. Therein lies the equation. The Linders so famously and wonderfully and beautifully and articulately and scientifically gave us a formula. Location plus presentation equals success. And then you had to figure out what you were going to chase, where you thought they were going to be, what you thought it was going to take. And then then they would break it down, and then they would give you you gave people a way to think about it. I just like starting the conversations. I have thousands and thousands of theories that on any given day I could try multiple of them, just out of curiosity. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And I try to pass on both of those things. The good, the bad, the real. Fishing's fishing, man. I had so many conversations this weekend where people came up to me multiple times and they're like, you're awesome. I'm like, right on. I don't know why. They're like, even when you don't catch anything, you tell people. And I had one guy go, I can't believe the other day you said you didn't catch anything. I looked at him, I'm like, well, a fisherman tells you that he gets them every single time. Bar none, not metaphorically, literally, Then they want you to believe that. I immediately stop listening. Fishing's fishing, man. Fishing's fishing. And you can be a hero and a zero in the same week, day, hour, minute. We all do that. So what? Fishing's fishing, that's part of it. There is a thrill and excitement and joy and ecstasy, a grand exhilaration from the one of the ultimate struggles as a human you can actually face in some ways, and that's man versus animal, man versus nature. And you have the ability to trick Mother Nature, to catch a fish and to make him do something, especially when it's not real. You trick him into doing something, and you've won. You've started the, everything that happens downhill of that bite. Beyond that, ultimately is irrelevant. In my estimation, the greatest measure of an angler is his created opportunities. How many opportunities did he create? Legitimate opportunities. And was that his intent? All you can ask for is the bite. Everything else after that would, on a negative would be human error. A positive would be, nature won. But when you complete that circuit and you get it from bite to net, that's really such an enormous battle. So where you go with it from there, you won. You won. And that's the juice of it. I just like sharing that with everybody, because then they share it back, and people do it more. I would love to be able to incentivize people to fish more. I've never seen anyone unhappy reeling in a fish. I'm pulling in my driveway. I'm saying goodbye. Thanks for a great weekend, everybody. I love you all. And to all, keep your tip up.